Hello and welcome to the show today. I am your host and founder of Heaven to Earth, Susan Fleming, business alignment therapist, equipping kingdom leadership to multiply life without burnout. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. The hustle, grind, and burnout does not have to be the life you choose. You have choices. This is huge. I find so many entrepreneurs feeling like I don't have permission to do something different. I have to do what everyone else is doing. So I'm here to tell you that is not the case. You do have choices. The power is in your hands to intentionally make changes that serve you. That serve you. You don't have to feel guilty about putting yourself first. Because let me ask you this. How many clients are you going to be able to serve if you've run yourself into the ground? If you've burned out, if you've gone into adrenal fatigue? None, right? You're not going to be good to anybody. So now that we know what burnout looks like, let's talk about how I found rest. So it was during this season that God really drew me in like never before. And I heard him say, if you seek me with all your heart, then you will find me. Well, I thought that's what I was already doing. Right. But it wasn't, right? I didn't know how to seek. And so I'm going to walk you through that as well. But I didn't have words for it at the time, but I was really seeking out a new way of being, a new way of living, a new way of working. And all the things that I knew to do were no longer working, right? Therapy wasn't working. The medications weren't working. Praying just felt like, my words are hitting the ceiling. Scriptures that used to excite me and bring life only felt like words falling on the floor. And fasting is another thing we're taught at church, right? But fasting I was just physically hungry. Like that didn't help. So I reached out to a friend that I had made through online business. And I really struggled to articulate to her, like, what is the problem or even what I was looking for. But I knew she was the person that I needed to talk to because there was something different about her. It was obvious to me that she had a relationship with God that I had no grid for. I didn't understand it. But I saw in her a difference. Her countenance shined, and she spoke in such depth of things that I had never imagined. And it wasn't like she's more intelligent. It was just the depth of the way she described her relationship with the Lord was just so different than anything I had heard. And she asked me, well, if what you're doing isn't working, then what do you have to lose by trying something different? And I want to pose that same question to you today. If you're feeling stuck in like what you're doing isn't working, what do you have to lose by trying something different? So I want to share with you this journey I went on with her and with the Lord that taught me about rest. She started mentoring me, and she was teaching me and talking about things that I had never heard in church. And one of those was that you will only trust God to the degree you believe he loves you. Now, I had grown up in church. I had grown up hearing God loves you. I knew that, right? I knew it in my head, but did I truly believe it? And what I knew about neuroscience told me that I didn't, because neuroscience says your actions display what you believe, right? You're operating out of these subconscious beliefs. So it was clear to me I was believing fear, not love. And what I discovered was my core belief about God was that he didn't love me, and I really feared that he would abandon me. if I fully surrendered to him, if I trusted him with everything, that he would abandon me. Now, that fear was based on things that had happened in my past. And for so many of us, that's what happens, right? We're operating out of past experience. And so I feared that he would abandon me like other people in my life had. But I realized that God was inviting me into a love relationship with him. So I released as much fear as I could and said yes to the invitation. And for the next 6 months, I experienced the messy middle. It was ugly. Okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was ugly. And I liken it to this process of the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. If you've ever like maybe Googled that or go on YouTube and watch that, it's pretty gross. But parts of my healing really felt like that process, right? The time when the caterpillar is in this, we call it a cocoon, but it's a chrysalis, right? And he's so vulnerable in there. Anything can come and just squish it. But it actually turns almost completely liquid before the butterfly parts start reforming. And so parts of my healing did feel like this liquefaction almost, because my paradigm was being completely dismantled and shifted and changed one lie at a time. The Lord started revealing to me different lies that I had been believing that were keeping me in this performance mindset. And so layer by layer, I was just allowing Jesus to very gently, right? He's so gentle, removing these lies and then replacing them with truth, with his goodness and with his love. And so learning to work in rest is learning to work from that place of love. So let's talk about rest here. Rest is not a lack of activity. All right. It's not you sitting around just waiting for God to hand you things or put money in your bank account or bring clients to you, right? There's still work involved, but it looks very different because rest is a place in Him where you can abide. You can actually stay there, right? The veil was torn. There's no more going in and out. You can abide, being fully enveloped in love, joy, peace, and righteousness. This is a place where you can do all the tasks for your business without pressure because you now have an awareness of God is responsible for the results. He is producing, not me, right? That whole metaphor of the vine and the branch that we see in John 15, right? He's responsible. He's the vine. He's producing the outcome, the grapes, the results, right? The increase in your business. God's intention for us was always partnership, not performance. And I found so much freedom in rest as I learned to let go of this performance mentality, right? I was no longer striving for the money or the clients. I was no longer saying yes to every opportunity that came along, no longer working those 50-hour weeks with little to show for it, right? No longer missing time with my family, no longer working to earn God's love. We were now in a partnership where I received all the benefits. And it all started with me allowing Him to love me. And once I did that, I was able to embrace my identity, my worth, and my value, knowing that I was enough just by being me. It wasn't about anything that I was doing. It was about me being who He says I am and letting go of all the shoulds, letting go of the expectations. I made an intentional choice Lord, I'm going to partner with you and we're going to dismantle all of these old blueprints that have been put on me by everybody else. And once I did that, then I was able to confidently show up in the world, being fully myself without this fear of rejection. So if you only remember one thing that I share with you today, remember this, that you are royalty. You must believe that you are who God says you are and own it for yourself. I was stuck in a performance mindset because I believed that love came as a result of what I did. And a lot of you may be watching this thinking, that's me, right? I feel like I have to earn everything. It's all about what I'm doing, not who I am as a person. But the truth that I had to own was that I was lovable and I am worthy simply because He created me, not because of anything else. And I now know and fully believe I am enough just for being me. So, believing who you are, believing that you have choices, that you get to decide how you run your business, right? And being able to communicate those choices with the people that need to know this is how it's going to work moving forward, right? We're going to be doing things differently. So being able to receive that love from Him is the most important thing. That's what's going to transform your life, transform your business, right? God loves you because God is love. It's His very nature. It's not a characteristic of who He is. It is who He is, right? It's the essence of who He is. He cannot help but love you. Okay, so you can't do anything to mess that up, but you have a choice in loving Him back. So you have to ask yourself, am I going to trust Him? Because you will trust God to the degree that you believe He loves you. And being able to receive that love is what is going to open you up to receive everything else that He wants to give you. This is hugely important. This is the big gold nugget here, is that you've got to be able to receive His love. And you can practice that. And I can teach you how to do that. Because my mission now is to see more people free from these traps of perfectionism and unworthiness. Right? He wants to give you a new definition of success. He wants you to learn to let go of that perfectionism and performance. I haven't experienced any symptoms of burnout in years since I learned this. There's been no more stress, worry, anxiety, racing thoughts, no more sleepless nights, no more exhaustion. I went from working 50 to 60 hours a week to I'm now working 10 hours a week, and my income has quadrupled. Not making claims, just telling you my experience. My income has quadrupled. My clients see the same thing. I take more vacations, more time off than I ever have. And these are not working vacations. I'm not taking my laptop with me. Like, I'm disconnected. I'm spending time with my family. I'm doing the things that I want to do. Something that I didn't know how to do before learning to live and work from rest. So my mission now is to see more people free, to change the culture of work from hustle and grind to rest and peace. I know what it's like to drown in my own unrealistic expectations, but now I also know what it's like to live differently, to operate my business from this place of resting and abiding in God instead of striving for what the world says is going to bring peace and joy. And it all starts with love. And I would love to have you join me. You can find me at heaventoearthllc.com. From there, you'll see links to multiple resources, such as my book, my YouTube channel, my courses, my programs, and my email address is even on there. And you can find out how to work with me. I'm so excited for the journey that you're on. I pray that you continue seeking the Lord in your faith and mental health journey. And thanks so much for tuning in today. If you want to learn more about me or any of my guests, all of the links are in the description below the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share it on all your social pages. Until next time, remember that you have the power to multiply life without burnout.